somebody I've known for quite some time. I remember I went with Ula to all the way Vasa to be at presentation, a seminar which was done by this person, and it's no other person than our own Dr. Abibayo. And he's coming to us. Adam was talking about energy part. So, Doctor, the floor is now open for you.
Your Excellencies and Honorable Councillor Lampo and my Finnish colleagues, Ghanaian colleagues, I really thank you for giving me this wonderful opportunity to come from Vasa to present something about some of the activities that we do in Vasa and also in Ghana. And when the gentleman mentioned Kari Halonen at the Labadi Beach, I remember because I was invited to meet the Finnish president there, so it also gave me some spark in Ghana. But my role here this afternoon, of course my time is small, so I'll maybe skip some of the slides, but during the discussion session you can please ask any question with regards to the Ghana energy issues. Vasa, as you know, is the energy center of Finland, so we coordinate most of the energy projects within Vasa and even sometimes in African countries. And 2 weeks ago, we got a visit from People's Polytechnic, which is now the People's Technical University, and they want to partner us to really promote energy education in Ghana. So what I'm going to present here is just to demonstrate some of the projects we've done, and then see how, together with the Foreign Ministry, we can enlarge it and then expand how we can solve the energy situations, not only in Ghana, but also other aspects of Africa. And my name is very funny. My name is Adebayo, and most people think I'm a Nigerian. Yes, I can say the name is Nigerian, and the voice is Ghanaian, and the brain is Finnish. So it's a long story, but I have not much to do in Nigeria, as most of my colleagues know. My dad just happens to come from there. I was born and bred in Ghana, so that's why I do mostly in Ghana. So if you are confused, that is good. So let's go to my main presentation. I just have a couple of questions that I want all of us to keep pondering about, because developing countries like Ghana, we so much have this problem. Why are we so slow to implement renewable energy technologies? Germany, that hasn't got sun as compared to Ghana, but they have almost the amount of energy they produce from their solar is almost that of a nuclear power plant. So why are developing countries so slow is the key question I ask all the time. And this takes me to the second question, that what kind of supply chain models, maybe the existing models we have, are hindering the development of energy projects. So that's why my title was The Challenges and Opportunities. So I'm trying to encourage that businessmen, business partners, we should look at new models of supply chain, new business models, because as our guest from Denmark said, Ghana's electrification rate is high, but if you see in most developing countries, I would say that the 70% or 65 to 70% is great in electrification rates, but the last 25 to 30 is the hardest to cover, because they are the ones that don't have the money, they are the ones that don't have the energy, and they are the ones that are most expensive to cover. So what should we do as businessmen and academicians? What kind of model do we create so that we are able to really meet the last but the most difficult part of our development package in Africa? So as I said, I will leave this slide here, but my idea is that we need to look at innovative policies and also check what kind of supply chain models we can have. So when we do that, then we can be able to solve this energy crisis, because without energy development, most of this infrastructure development that was presented, or these opportunities, might be difficult to fulfill, because energy is the backbone of all these developments. So I just have a couple of barriers to electrification, and as I mentioned, because of time factor, I will just try to pick the key points. It's very expensive to cover the rural areas. Those were the group I said, the last part of it, the chain. They are the ones that need energy the most. They are very far from the grid, which is expensive. So it's not ideal for businessmen to do, because they want to have profit. So what kind of system should we really look at so that we are able to develop our energy situation there? And of course, we also have a lack of a system providing appropriate incentives, because we have all kinds of policies that are in place that makes it difficult to get businessmen to really go into the energy field. And the weak implementing capacity, we want to solve problems in the rural areas, for example, but then we have policies that are being designed for urban communities. So that can't take that. And of course, generation shortage, as was mentioned earlier. And then of course, if you look at sub-Saharan Africa, the funding that we need for the next 20 to 30 years is amazing. But currently, these funding are not enough to sustain our development in Africa. And these are some of the barriers to private sector involvement. Political instability, but we don't have that in Ghana, as has been mentioned. But these are the generic problems. The fairness of bidding processes, how fair are they? Because investors want to ensure that when bids are out or tenders are out, they can compete fairly. And then of course, contractual agreements, and then long deals, long-term deals with no quick return on investment. These are some of the things that investors, because we want to have IPPs, we want to have private investors. But when these things are not taken care of, they hinder investors from coming to the country. So, what is our solution? This is not an academic solution because we've tried it in practice. So we are saying that what should we do so that we can develop innovative supply chain for energy business, for instance in Ghana, the developing countries. So our definition is that some parts of the renewable technology, they should and can be designed locally and manufactured, because when you do that, you create cost effectiveness and also you create jobs, but more importantly, the supply chain is matched to the competence of the local people. And I will demonstrate some of the solutions we came up with a case study in Ghana with a Finnish partner as to how we can develop these kind of innovative supply chain models. So these are some of the business opportunities or priority projects in Ghana, and so far these two have been fulfilled. The 2 megawatt solar and the 20 megawatt that has been completed, but the rest are ongoing feasibility studies that have been done and have been discussed. But the first two have been they are working. The 2 megawatt is in upper region and the 20 megawatt is in Gomua, the central region. There are solar farms that are currently operating. But then we have these are the current supply chain models for most developing countries like Ghana. We import solar panels, for instance, in the case of solar energy, we import charge controllers, inverters, there are distributors. They try to install them, sometimes they can. And when something goes wrong, there is no maintenance. Then people have negative attitude to these products because they are not working well. So this is the current chain that is being done. So that's why the attitude to renewable energy technology is not so much like it is, because people don't see it working for a long time. So when you import some of these components, they are difficult to adapt to local needs. We have a lot of examples of that. There is no training in design or marketing, and it doesn't even promote organizational learning, because when it breaks, there's nothing to be done. So people are not so enthusiastic with it, and there's no entrepreneurship system that encourages young people to say, okay, people go to business to sell pineapples. Why don't we go into business to sell solar panels or to sell wind turbine components? Why don't we do that? Or bioenergy components? Why don't we do that? Because we don't have that ecosystem for that. So, and this, I won't show the video, but if you have the presentation, you can play it. I've shown it before. So this is a finished project in Ghana. We started in 2010. It's a finished Ghana project. that started in 2010, and it's still working. But unfortunately, we haven't been able to market it to the Trinidad Foreign Ministry, or because we are so far, we're in Barasa. So, but it's working, and this is trying to design a solar assembly plant in Ghana. Actually, it was the first solar assembly plant to be designed in Ghana. We had students, exchange students from People's Polytechnic, who came to Barasa. They went back to Finland, and we helped it to Ghana, and then we helped them to create this company with a Finnish friend. So what we did basically was that we tried to take some parts of the solar panel or the solar system. The solar panels were designed in Ghana, assembled. The charge controller we do in Ghana. So in a nutshell, the prices of the solar panels and the charge controller, they become cheaper because our labor is cheap. And then once they do it in Ghana, they learn. When it breaks, they fix it. So that improves organizational learning. So when companies come to Ghana to do solar businesses or solar farms, we have people who understand how the solar system works. So this is the solar component plant in Ghana. He's assembling the charge and the solar panels. We get the cells, and then we put out the cells together. The reason because the panels come from Europe in 300 watts size, but they don't have money to pay because it's so big. So we designed a 20 watt system or 15 watt system, and as your money grows bigger, the system is working, you are liking it, and we have built it for you to your own taste and design. And then this is a locally assembled solar panel, and it has been working since 2010, and the Ghana Standard Board has given us certificates, and it has never had a problem. And actually, we created a new innovation because we found out that the panels that came from China, the cabling at the back of the panels couldn't withstand the temperature in Ghana, so the thermal conductivity was weakening the panels. So we were able to replace them with local cabling. So these panels are working very good. And this is a Finnish technology, I'll be honest, because it was a Finnish guy that we came together and we came up with this idea, and we have people working there now. And then this is the charge controller department, where they produce charge controllers themselves. This is an existing facility. Ula knows that very well. And it's not a store, it's not like a news, but it is really in reality. And this is, we've also trained them to do street lights. So they can also design solar street lights quite easily without any problem. So these are the things that we want to encourage in other energy sectors, because when you do that, then it's easier for the Finnish businesses to go there because they have the ready-made skills and competence to do some of the projects that you want to do. So these are some of the installations, and now that has led us to design a locally designed solar system for the rural areas. So with this system, you can have lights, you can charge your mobile phones for the rural communities, and this was around 600 Ghana cedi, which is around $150. So it's affordable, and the rural communities have their own lights, and light goes on with everybody. So the problems we encounter with this kind of approach is that the regulations are pretty too much, and my encouragement is that we should always look at the cost of regulation and the benefit of regulation, because that creates a problem with innovation. And then sometimes the custom policies are very hard, because even though the government has the policies in place, but the customs don't really have it yet. So there's a gap in information. It creates delays in some of the projects we want to do. And then also lack of information on potential funding possibilities, that where do we go to replicate some of these ideas that we have done in Ghana. And then of course, purchasing the components also becomes a problem. But we are working on that, and I could say that this project we did in Ghana last year was rewarded as the most innovative company in Ghana for the idea, because Ghana has now got a climate change center, which was funded last year, and projects were invited, and our project was given the most innovative company in Ghana in terms of solar ideas. So this is something we've done from students we have trained in Barasa and who have moved back to Ghana and working. So our idea is that we can apply the same concept not only to solar, but also to the wind and bio. And to the bioenergy, I don't know whether Tommy is here, Tommy Hook. Yeah, he's here, and he can testify to that. We've started a cooperation with Barry Sample in Pogola, where we are cooperating with solar and bioenergy. Students in Ghana study solar in Ghana, and they come to Kobola to complete the various aspects. And in that way, they get a diploma, or we are trying to get a diploma for them in renewable energy technology entrepreneurship, so that they are able to start some of these projects. So I was surprised to see Tony here. We didn't tell each other we were coming, but he was in Ghana last year to check the concept. And I think this year we are getting 6 students from Ghana.
Yeah.
Yes, 6.
Second group.
7, yeah. Good. So second group. So we started this renewable energy entrepreneurship education, where it's a pilot project. When it works, we might then have to work to the Finnish Foreign Ministry to sell our concept, because we want to expand this entrepreneurship idea in renewable energy for African students. So, in conclusion, I wouldn't want to bore you with a lot of academic stuff. There is a study here that has stated in details all the opportunities in wind, in solar, bioenergy. So, I think I wouldn't want to bore you with all the possibilities. It was done by the Danish and the Netherlands Embassy, and it's a fantastic study. They've stated each field with the investment and business opportunities. So if you go to this link, you are able to see what is up and coming in Ghana. And my encouragement is that all the time we are focusing on mega projects, but it would be nice to focus on small and medium projects, because with those projects you are able to grow up. And when we always talk about 100 megawatt solar farm, I think it's not feasible in Ghana. If you do 100 or 200 megawatt solar farm, where do you put the energy? On what grid? So as our lady showed in the presentation, the grid investment is neglected. So 10 megawatt, 5 megawatt, 1 kilo, those things are the ones that our grid can take at the moment. And that also provides a learning experience for us, so that we are able to develop the energy situation in Ghana. So please, this website or this link is really amazing, because it has all the energy potentials in Ghana. So I just borrowed a couple of them, which, like for instance, in Ghana there is potential in water heating. Most Ghanaians use hot water to bath, which is amazing because it's warm. So we can use solar for water heating. And then for agriculture too, we can use solar water pumping for irrigation. There are all kinds of opportunities. So my dear colleagues, I wouldn't want to bore you with this. You can get the PowerPoints and then look at those sites and see those kind of wonderful opportunities in Ghana. So this is my recommendation, which way forward. My suggestion, or not a suggestion, what we are trying to promote is that we should try to look at new models of supply and business models with Finnish companies in the energy business. New supply chain models, because the business world is changing. And the energy business is not like before. Before, you build heat power plants, you transfer them along transmission lines and to the customer. But with renewable energy technology, sometimes the solar panels on top of your roof, so the customer is beneath the technology. So we need to have new models, new payment financing models that will promote this renewable energy businesses, not only in Ghana, but also in developing countries across Africa. And also, we should form new partnerships with University of Applied Sciences. I was happy to hear that Arthur University was doing the ICT, and in Vasa, we are into energy, the energy center, so maybe not only ICT buses, maybe energy buses can also be created. And we have a case Vacon, and we are proud to say that we took Vacon to West Africa from Vasa. I conducted an interview with the students, and we opened a Vacon representation in West Africa, which is now GAFOS. But to show that these partnerships benefit a lot in both ways. And then integrating the business activities of FinPro with the Finnish University of Applied Sciences, because we think that we can complement some of FinPro's efforts. We don't want to compete with FinPro, that's not our idea. We have students who do wonderful projects that can really be marketed for Finnish products, because the idea is that we want to market Finnish export companies, and that is our goal in Vasa. So seminars and workshops linking students to Finnish export companies for students to showcase their potential export projects, because that will also complement some of the effort that FinPro is using. When the projects are well accepted, then FinPro can take it up from there with these students, because we have a couple of waste-to-energy projects now where we spoke to a company in Vasa. Our students are going to now study the waste situation in Ghana, even though some Finnish companies are already there. I know that there's a Finnish company from Vasa which is in Ghana this week. students are actively involved. So if we can have these seminars with Finnish export companies once a year, or maybe by every 6 months or something, so that there are a lot of students Finland has educated. I'm one of them, and most of you here are some of them. And there are lots in Vaasa, in Helsinki, who have wonderful business ideas and opportunities, but how do we tap into them? So our recommendation from Vaasa is that we should have a way of working with this FinPro or Finnish Foreign Ministry, whichever network or agency, where our students come to showcase their feasibility study in energy projects, and with these projects, they are able to really present what they are doing, and in doing so, then they can actually help Finnish products to sell abroad. My rector told me that, he asked me a question that in Vaasa we have good energy products. The designs are wonderful, but we want to sell them. But how do we sell them? We have a lot of African students here that I'm hoping that we can use them to be export ambassadors for Finnish projects, not only in Ghana, but also in the developing countries. So when it comes to energy projects, we in Vaasa, University of Applied Sciences, we are training students in bioenergy, in wind, and in solar, and waste energy projects. And we've now got some projects that is kicking off in Ghana. So with that, I can say that the Finnish education is really helping us. And we want to thank the Finnish government. Their free education has produced people like me and most of you in the audience from Ghana. And we want to also pay back by helping to sell Finnish technologies abroad. And my good friend Tommy, hopefully, we will promote this renewable energy entrepreneurship so that in the coming months and years, we are able to really cooperate, because Tommy will tell you that our solar expertise in Ghana, he knows it. So we can also even share that with our Finnish companies and then get the bioenergy and wind from Finland. So on that note, I want to thank you so much for your attention. And then questions or answers, or as the chairman said, maybe you can ask me later, or if anything you want to ask me, I'll be very grateful to answer you in detail. So thank you so much for your wonderful attention.
Thank you very much to you, Dr. Adebayo, and all the speakers. It's now time for question and answers. And I would plead with anybody who wants to ask a question or make a comment to make it a little bit short for us, so that as many people as possible can have their voices heard. You can address to individual speakers or make it generally, and anybody who has the time or is ready to answer will then answer. Thank you. So, yeah, Dr. Brace.
Yeah, hello, I'm William Brace, Dr. William Brace from VP, Finland Technical Research. Actually, I have a comment and a question for the speakers. My comment is that, well, I'm working in VTT and I'm in contact with most Finnish companies. We are trying to promote Finnish companies through research to all over the world. But I'm always coming up with problems. When I come from Ghana, I know the environment very well. I know I've been in Finland quite some time, and I know the Finnish culture, the business culture, companies and everything. But whenever I'm trying to promote some Finnish company to Ghana, there are always obstacles.